Previously on Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony.
Tenko was our friend. Gonta wanna know why she died too.
I already told you that's so unnecessary. We're getting sidetracked here.
No, even if it was a different culprit, we need to know how Tenko died. If we don't find out who killed her, we won't be able to work together. Not now, not ever. Even if this trial isn't for her, in order for us to survive, we need to get to the bottom of Tenko's death. Not just to survive this trial, but so we can keep going and live on!
Finally, you noticed. Jeez, you're so slow.
Huh? Did Kokichi want us to notice?
Don't listen to his crap. We haven't decided whether there were two different culprits yet.
Let us talk about Tenko's case then. Perhaps that will provide us a clue.
Yeah, maybe.
You're not wrong, but I don't mind going over Tenko's case. That was an abrupt change of topic. Was that intentional?
So what do we talk about first?
For now, let's see if we can narrow down the list of suspects.
Himiko.
Tancrotch probably got killed during the seance, so everyone there's suspicious. Tancrotch!
People who attended the seance. It was Suichi, Himiko, Kokichi, yeah.
That's it! It was me, Kyo, Himiko, and Kokichi.
So those four are the culprits!
Oh, Himiko's still culprit?
Yes, Himiko's still culprit.
Well, that's probably just a coincidence. The most suspicious out of the four is really Kyo. He suggested the whole seance idea.
True, I may have suggested it, but I explained the procedure beforehand, yes? If we all knew of it before the murder, then we are all equally suspicious.
Well, I suppose, but...
In addition, the seance wasn't entirely in my control either. I was not the one who selected the room we performed it in. It was Himiko.
Doggo. Hi, Uchiha. He's on his bed. He's sleeping. We gave him a bath yesterday. And then it proceeded to rain the entire day. But he still smells like creamsicle. However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which ones shall we use? The middle room. The middle room's always best for stuff like this. Very well. I shall begin the preparations at once.
Oh, right.
The more I think about it, the more I think Himiko and Kyo were cahoots with each other. Excellent. Did you finish Stranger Things? Yes, I did. I did. Did you finish? I heard that you only saw 5 episodes. I don't know if you saw any more yesterday.
Also, we should not limit our suspects to only those who participated in the seance. The empty room had a point of entry from outside, you see.
Point of entry from outside. He must be referring to the gap in the room.
There! You're talking about under the floor, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh? Under the floor?
Yes, there's a crawl space under the floor a person can move through. There was also a hole that connected it to the neighboring room.
If the culprit used the hole, they could have entered and exited the seance room.
They could.
If we consider that possibility, then there is another suspect.
Another suspect? Who?
Kibo.
It's appearing before me. Oh, I can see it clearly. The true identity of Tenko's killer. The culprit sneaked in during the seance by crawling under the floor.
Yeah.
But it was pitch black during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
How do I agree again?
Candle?
Oh no.
I mean,
No!
Kiva's flashlight function.
Huh? Now hold on a second.
That one's a lie. When I hold right
Kiva
click,
could
it's
have
a
used that
lie.
function to get under the floor and
Yeah, I
sneak
agree.
into the empty room during the seance.
I said hold on a second.
He used his robot functions to commit the murders.
Hold on a second.
He's so mad. You turned his flashlight power on. It's true that with a little light, you can look under the floor. But is that possible?
The culprit sneaked in during the seance.
I'm gonna try this one.
By crawling under the floor.
Because I guess if the light was really bright, you
But
can
it was
see it
pitch
through the
black
hole.
during the seance. How could they even see if they were under the floor?
Because it wasn't dark under the floor. You see, our villain had a light.
That's wrong! I don't think the culprit could have used a light while under the floor. There was a hole in the corner of the room. If a light were used, it would have leaked through and we would have seen it.
But when we did the seance, the room was definitely pitch black.
So a light was not shined under the floor, which means you cannot claim I am the culprit.
Jeez, here I thought this would be the case where the murder could only be done by a robot.
You have accused me of being the culprit more than once now, simply because I am a robot. My status as a robot does not mean I am capable of performing superhuman feats. My vision is somewhat poor, and I only possess average physical strength and intelligence.
Oh, we know about physical strength.
All right, you made your point. God, now I feel sort of bad for you.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ, Kokichi. You're so mean. I don't like you that you know it should be season 3. I think all the people, hopefully is what I'm thinking, all the people who was tested on will be in season 3. Like all 11 people. I mean, even if it isn't 11, it could be more. And I really want to see what their powers are.
I neither want nor need your pity.
Enough with the flashlight! It's way too bright!
Enough with the flashlight!
It would have been difficult to move around under the floor in that pitch black darkness. Maybe the floor and the hole have nothing to do with this case.
Then why was floorboard under Tenko lined up funny? Going to think that was so culprit could stab Tenko from under floor.
Ooh, nice observation, Gonta. Are you finally getting used to the class trials?
Uh-huh. Thank you.
Oh god.
Don't say it like that. You're better off not being used to this kind of stuff.
Maybe they marked that'd let the culprit find her. Then they could stab her through the floorboards.
Boy, that sounds really familiar too! But I'm just gonna ignore it.
Her corpse didn't have any trace of glowing paint, though.
Oh, yeah. So then why was that floorboard loose?
The loose floorboard was the one under Tenko, right? If the culprit used it while she was still alive, she'd totally notice.
Who fucking cares? Fussing over that won't get us closer to the culprit!
We shouldn't dismiss this line of inquiry, however. Instead of butting our heads against this, how about we concentrate on another issue?
What other issue?
Perhaps first, we should figure out how and when exactly Tenko was killed.
When? So not during seance?
Tenko was in the metal cage for the whole seance, wasn't she? How could someone have gotten to her there?
Maybe the culprit killed her before she went under the metal cage.
That's not possible. She was alive at that point.
This is the point of no return, Tenko. After this point, you mustn't speak. Next time you open your mouth, it will be Angie speaking through you. Understood. I will not say a word until the seance is over.
Yes, she was unmistakably alive when the seance began.
That was right before we blew out the candles. But when the light came back...
The floorboard was removed at that point, so it's likely she was already dead then.
So she was killed when the room was dark?
But she was inside Cage, right? Going to think it impossible to kill her then.
Then she wasn't killed when the room was dark. It was a different time.
A different time?
How the fuck should I know? You figure it out, shitheads.
Huh?
Since Gonta said it was impossible, I'm proposing an alternate theory. Now hurry up and think! If you want to make my golden brain tingle, start circle jerking your limp dick brains! When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It could not have been done at any other time. She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead when the cage was lifted.
What about moment Cage was lifted?
Like that.
When Cage lifted, culprit stabbed Tenko real fast. So fast, no one saw.
Oh my!
So who lifted the cage?
It was me.
Then obviously Himiko is the culprit!
There's no down!
Why is she getting all excited? Tenko not being killed during the seance? Might not be possible, but there's no evidence for it.
When Tenko got killed, it wasn't during the seance.
It
Could not have been done at any other time.
She was under the cage the whole time. And she was dead.
Moment Cage was lifted.
That's wrong!
No, it wasn't possible to kill her the moment the cage was lifted. Because the inside of the white cloth had Tenko's blood on it. That cloth was removed before the cage was lifted. If Tenko was stabbed then, there wouldn't be blood on the cloth.
What? But how could my golden brain be wrong when it felt so right?
The only possibility is that Tenko was killed during the seance.
I got your remodel right here!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, it's still wrong to think that Tenko was killed during the seance.
Sure. What are you gonna say?
What?
What are you gonna say to prove it?
I'm gonna prove it right now. My golden brain is gonna go all out!
Sure.
Tenko died after the seance. It happened when the sheet was lifted. That was the moment the culprit chose to stab the fuck out of Tenko through the cage! They stuck the thin blade through the gap, and that clean white sheet got stained blood red!
But the weapon was a sickle. Only the blade could have fit through the gaps.
The blade's all you need. If you stick the blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed. She wasn't that far from the cage's gap. In which case, the person who lifted the sheet is the culprit, and that's none other than Kyo!
Has been a hole and
The blade's all you need.
Okay, let's do loose keyboard.
If you stick the
Floorboard.
blade through a gap in the cage, it'd be long enough to reach Tenko. Sitting in there with her neck all exposed.
I'll cut through your words! Wait just a minute. Tenko wasn't sitting down inside the cage. She was bent over with her forehead against the marker stone. And the cage itself was about 3 feet tall. The sickle's blade was too short to reach Tenko while she was in that position.
Then I messed up again? How could this happen? I am so embarrassed.
No worries, Mew. Everyone already knows you're an embarrassment to the human race.
Yeah, no worries.
Ah! How embarrassing!
If Shuichi is right, then it's impossible for Tenko to have been killed through the cage.
She couldn't have been killed during the seance since she was in the cage, right?
If she was killed then, the cloth over the cage would have been pierced.
Not during the seance or from below the floor. Then it's impossible, isn't it?
Yeah, for a living person.
Huh?
What if Angie's spirit killed Tenko?
What are you talking about? That's not possible!
We don't know that. Some things are impossible for a human, but not for a spirit.
Don't say stupid stuff like that! Screw spirits!
Stop that now.
He's so stressed out. They're just ghosts, Kaito. It's okay.
Angie's spirit killed Tenko? Why?
Himiko?
Why would Angie's spirit kill Tenko?
What if Tenko killed Angie, and then Angie's spirit came back for revenge?
Like I said, that's impossible! Spirits can't be culprits!
Then explain how the culprit killed Tenko under these impossible circumstances.
Well,
See? You can't explain, can you? Only a spirit could have done that!
Wait! I know! What if the culprit was hiding inside the cage?
No.
If they were in there, they could have stabbed Tenko during the seance.
No. If there was someone else in the cage, we would have
I
noticed.
agree with Kaito. The culprit could have been inside the cage.
Really?
Nonsense. There was no space in the cage for the culprit to hide.
Maybe the culprit wouldn't need to hide in the first place.
What?
Also, the culprit could have killed her in the cage at any time. I think you know what I'm getting at, right?
The they she's referring to. Who could have killed Tenko inside the cage at any time? I don't get you. You're really narrow-minded for a detective. What?
Damn it!
Who could have killed Tenko from inside the cage? Well, she was the only one in the cage.
I believe Maki is referring to Tenko herself.
Really?
What did you say?
Are you saying
Interesting.
Tenko is the culprit?
She committed suicide.
Oh.
Suicide?
If she committed suicide, it would explain a lot of things we couldn't figure out. She volunteered to be in the cage, and then stabbed herself during the seance. It wouldn't matter how dark the room was.
But the sickle she was stabbed with was under the floor, right? If Tenko had stabbed herself, wouldn't the sickle still be inside the cage?
Oh my god. Mew actually said something smart.
Perhaps that explains why the floorboard was removed. After stabbing herself with the sickle, she threw it underneath the floor.
So she took off the floorboard to get rid of the sickle?
Yes, that makes sense to Gonta.
Well, it doesn't make sense to me. There's no reason for Tenko to commit suicide.
Maybe I wasn't too far off with the theory I had earlier. You know, about Tenko killing Angie.
Yeah?
Because Tenko and Angie were fighting for your attention, right?
Hey Angie, why didn't you brainwash Himiko?
Tenko's pent-up frustration led her to commit such an atrocity. Her conscience couldn't handle it anymore, so she decided to end her own life.
I don't think so.
What?
But if she was gonna kill herself, why do it during the seance?
She wanted to hide the truth of her suicide.
Really? Why?
There could only be one reason to hide it in a killing game, right? It's to take us down with her.
Take us down?
She wanted us to pick the wrong answer during the class trial, so she could bring us all down. She wanted us to die with her.
No.
Okay, well, she probably just wanted Himiko to die with her, but still.
But what are you saying? Tenko wasn't like that. She told me.
Keep your chin up and live life facing forward. Survive with me and everyone else.
What if all of that was just a lie?
A lie?
Wait, we should believe Tenko's last words.
The true terror of class trials is that you shouldn't believe everything said.
Himiko, you said that Tenko would never do anything like that. But how can you be so sure? Did you guys actually know each other? People keep all sorts of secrets. Like Maki. She hid the fact that she's a cold-blooded killer. Is it wise of us to trust other people wholeheartedly in this kind of situation?
Jeez, you're such a naive dude.
Naive?
We're all just people, you know? Of course we're gonna have some secrets. What matters is whether there's any malice behind them.
Sure. Sure, Kaito. You're so optimistic.
People can lie about how malicious their hidden secrets really are.
Well, duh. It's impossible to know for sure what others are thinking. That's why it all comes down to whether or not you believe in yourself. If you get betrayed, it's not their fault. It's your fault for believing in them. That's why I believed in Maki Roll, because I wanted to believe in her.
Just because you're acting all cool doesn't mean you get to skip training.
Hey, come on. Don't you think you're being a little too strict?
Well, we come from different backgrounds. So for now, let's agree to disagree. No one's ever called me naive before. And from Kaito? Seriously?
Oh, jeez.
Whether or not I believe, my heart can't reach Tenko anymore. But I want to believe in her. She wouldn't commit suicide. She wouldn't try to take us down. That's what I want to believe.
Me too. Gota no can believe Tenko commits suicide.
But if Tenko did commit suicide, that would answer all of our questions.
If you insist we believe in Tenko, then provide a reason to do so.
A proper reason.
All right, I'll give you a reason.
Is there a reason?
Yes, there is. Will you trust me, Maki? If it turns out I'm wrong, you can blame me all you like. But for now, I need you to trust in my detective work.
But I'm not a very good detective, Suichi. I don't know if I can do this. I don't believe Tenko would kill herself because of what she said. Okay, everyone, I'll see you guys after the seance. She said see you guys after. I doubt she had a sudden change of heart. Just because we don't know how she was killed doesn't mean it was a suicide. We shouldn't be satisfied with that. And if we keep thinking, we'll find the truth. That means we have to believe in Tenko. I'll make them all believe. Alright. Tenko's last one.
So far, suicide seems to be the best explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
Tenko's not that kind of person! But if Tenko did commit suicide, it would explain how she died during the seance.
She could have secretly brought the sickle and then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength, She threw the sickle underneath the floor. All the pieces fit.
Everyone thinks that Tango committed suicide, only because you're latching onto the easiest answer. To get out of this, I need to make them think their suicide theory wouldn't work. Oh, so do I need to lie? It's fine, it's fine.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So she hid her true intentions.
And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her...
No!
threw the
Stupid thing
sickle
got in the way.
underneath the floor. All
Fuck
the
me.
pieces fit.
It's fine, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine.
Its explanation.
Her plan was to take us down with her. So
She hid her true intentions.
She could have secretly brought the sickle.
And then stabbed herself with it.
Finally, with the last of her strength,
I'll reveal the truth. Tenko couldn't have thrown the sickle under the floor because she died instantly.
instantly,
Her death might not have been instant, but she couldn't have gone for it before she bled out.
I'm certain of it. My investigation determined that she died instantly.
what's your opinion, Maki? I'd like to hear from someone who specializes in murder.
Maki.
You're right. I completely forgot about that important detail. Tenko died instantly.
Yeah, she agrees.
What?
She's
As
playing
an
along with
assassin,
me.
I specialize in killing my targets swiftly. I have no doubt that Tenko was killed immediately.
Words of a true killer. Pretty sure we can believe everything she said.
Thank you,
How
Maki.
could you forget that, Maki Roll? You better apologize to Shuichi.
Excuse me?
It's okay, Kaito, really. No apology necessary. Anyway, Tenko died so suddenly that she couldn't have gotten rid of the sickle. Knowing that, the theory that she killed herself just doesn't fit, correct?
Just like I thought. Tenko wouldn't commit suicide.
Thank goodness, Himiko.
Which means someone definitely killed Tenko during the seance.
her suicide was considered because we could not determine how she was killed.
No! There must have been a way! We're gonna figure it out!
Did any of the participants witness anything peculiar during the seance? If you know something, please speak up. It could be the key to solving this mystery.
Not a bad idea. We should remember what happened at the seance. Let me try to remember. I'm sure there's something. I need some kind of clue that'll help me solve this mystery.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the
Sound
seance?
during seance.
There is something that bothers me. The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed.
Whoops. That's not it. Whoops. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Did anything seem out of the ordinary during the seance?
There is something that bothers me. The fact that the seance failed. The ritual was perfect, and yet it failed. How utterly strange.
Now that I think about it, while we were all singing the song, I heard something fall.
I agree. Himiko, you think that something fell because of that sound you heard, right?
The song was so weird. So weird.
It sounded like something heavy fell down and hit the floor really hard. What could have fallen down?
Fallen down? There wasn't anything on the ceiling that could have fallen down, right?
Am I wrong? I thought something fell, but
The sound was pretty loud. It did seem like something hit the floorboards.
A loud sound, like something hit the floorboards. Maybe that's something to do with the other thing that happened in the dark.
This is it! I think the floorboard coming off had something to do with that sound. That floorboard came loose at some point during the seance, right?
would the floorboard have made such a loud sound, though?
It was the sound of an intense impact.
If the impact was that intense, then it could have loosened the floorboard.
That is true. There would have had to be a strong impact to make that sound. What was it? What could it possibly be?
All right then, let's go with that. We all gotta put our heads together now.
What does that mean? Okay, Kaito. You don't even know what's happening.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
No.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hid under floor, then stood up with such might.
No.
We already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
A floorboard that comes loose when you step on it is dangerous. God, it's like I'm the only one here who's staying on the ball.
You hardly have any experience with balls to say that, Mew.
Don't be stupid. Don't you know me and balls are the best of friends?
What would have made a strong enough impact to knock the floorboards loose? Think about everyone's testimony and combine it with the facts.
So what made the floorboard come loose?
Judging from the sound, there must have been considerable force.
Someone who participated in the seance. Maybe that person tore off the floorboard.
That wouldn't make such a loud crashing sound.
Maybe the wooden statue fell over.
But that statue was still on top of the cage.
Culprit hid under floor, then stood up with such might.
But we already said there was no one under the floor.
Someone must have stomped through the floorboard.
Okay.
I agree. Kokichi is right. The floorboard came loose because someone stomped on it.
The floorboards fit perfect. Going to make sure first time we go to empty room.
When we first saw the room, yes. But when I looked again during the investigation, one of the cross pieces supporting the floorboards was cut off. After examining the cut, I concluded that it must have been done deliberately.
Someone? You mean the culprit, right? Why'd they do that?
What did the culprit stand to gain by cutting the cross piece?
What did they stand to gain? That's the question. To solve this case, I'll need to think carefully about the cross piece and floorboard. Okay. Tenko's body was at one end of the loose floorboard, and the cross piece that had been cut was on the other end of the floorboard. The unsupported part was outside the cage, so it could have been stomped on. Only one of the cross pieces was cut, the other two were intact. One of them was right under Tenko, and the other was in the center, right about where the edge of the cage was. What was the culprit attempting to achieve by stomping on the floorboard? Think! Come on, think! Okay. W. I think I missed it. Where is that? I need E. Enough. There we go.
I see you.
That's right. The floorboard might have been used as a seesaw.
Huh? A seesaw?
The crosspiece at one end of the floorboard had been cut off. The other two crosspieces holding up that board were close to the cage. Meaning, if you were to apply force to the end of the floorboard with no crosspiece, the next crosspiece would act as a fulcrum to turn the floorboard into a lever. A lever capable of lifting up Tenko's entire body.
Her whole body lifted up?
Yeah, that sounds like a seesaw, all right. But why bother lifting Tenko's body?
They couldn't have killed Tenko like that. Unless they used the sickle.
That's exactly it. Using the seesaw trick, it was possible to kill Tenko with a sickle.
Huh? How?
In order for the culprit to kill Tenko with a seesaw trick, the placement of the sickle is the most important factor.
The floorboard, seesaw, the cage, and the blood on the white fabric. What conclusions can I draw from this? So only one place the sickle could have been as consistent with the evidence. Where was Sickle when Tenko was killed?
That's it!
Kyo, I
The
definitely think you
sickle
killed
was at
Tenko
the top
now.
of the iron cage, with the blade facing down.
Kyo.
The reason we didn't see it was because of the fabric covering the cage. Also, the wooden statue kept the blade in place. It's true that the sickle's handle was thick, which made the statue wobble. But the statue's weight kept it from falling over. Once everything was in place, if you stepped hard enough on the seesaw, Tenko's body would have shot upward and hit the blade on the top of the cage.
Ooh, that must have really hurt. Oh my
She was
gosh.
bent over, meaning the sickle's blade would have connected with her neck.
Ow.
The 6-inch sickle blade wasn't long enough to stab Tenko in her crouched position. But with the floorboard acting as a seesaw, it could compensate for the blade's length.
Bringing the victim to the sickle rather than bringing the sickle to the victim. That's definitely an unorthodox idea.
It's crazy, but it would explain how Tenko got stabbed while she was in the cage.
So the sound we heard was the culprit stomping on the floorboard.
That impact make floorboard come loose.
Looks like we got ourselves a good old-fashioned seesaw homicide. Wait, what the hell's a seesaw homicide? That's fucking crazy!
So Kyo planned all of this, killed Tenko, took the sickle when he removed the cloth and then threw it back down in the gap in the room. The hole in the floor. Kill all for a seance? Are you serious? You would kill someone just for a freaking seance? He's so crazy.
The craziness is what really makes the killing game fun, you know? They can't get away with murder the normal way, so they gotta think outside the box. Kudos, culprit! You did a great job keeping me entertained.
Indeed. Well played, Himiko.
Yeah?
It was you, wasn't it? The one behind the seesaw homicide.
Huh? Why her?
Because she's the only one capable of carrying out this plan.
The only one? Why's that?
Because this seesaw homicide required its location to be prepared beforehand.
By cutting the crosspiece beneath the floorboard, you mean?
Then the culprit would need to lure their victim into the prepared room. That is why you chose that room for the seance. Is it not, Himiko?
But the crosspiece in the first room was also cut, which means you probably prepared all 3 rooms. It doesn't matter which room we picked, you would have been able to do it anyways. However, there are 3 empty rooms. Which one shall we use? The middle room. The middle room is always best for stuff like this.
Oh yeah! Himiko was the one who chose the site for the seance!
She likely found out about my plans for the seance somehow.
You were quite vocal about the seance, Kyo. You even had instructions for it in your lab.
Our culprit, Himiko, prepared her seesaw trap ahead of time. Then she waited for me to host the seance, and suggested the middle room. She led us all into holding the seance right where she wanted it. Then, she killed Tenko, all according to plan.
That's a lie, right? Himiko did such a thing?
In the end, Himiko, who Tenko cherished and loved, tragically killed her.
Wait! We don't know that, right? He's wrong, right, Himiko? Himiko would never kill Tenko, right?
Kill Tenko? I killed Tenko?
Himiko?
What's wrong, Himiko?
It is true that using the middle room was Himiko's idea. Does that mean that Himiko really killed Tenko? Will something like that really happen? Something so cruel. Intermission! To be continued.